Welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's a fan favorite, it's a driver favorite. It's one of the most popular venues on the entire 1UP Superstar Series schedule, and it is the site of race number 4 of this 2026 season. For 80 laps, we take on this wicked fast mile-and-a-half racetrack that has seen some incredible racing over the years, and I'm sure today will be no exception as we take it on here in the still early portion of this brand new season. And alongside me in the booth to bring you all the action for today's race is Jesse Turner, back with us once again. Great to have you with us. This track is high, wide, and fast. You can pick a lane and you'll go fast in it. No wonder all the drivers love coming here, and no wonder these fans fill the grandstands every time we show up.
Definitely, my man. They definitely don't call it Hot Atlanta for nothing. The action at this track is, consistently hot season after season, and I'm sure today will be no exception. It's looking real good. The conditions are real good to be holding this race today, and yeah, we're just like last week at Las Vegas. We're expecting lots of speeds, even though it's a mile-and-a-half track. We're expecting things to really be lively around this track, so definitely looking forward to see what these 80 laps has in store for us.
Yeah, and with these cars taking it 3 wide, sometimes even 4 wide around this track, they're willing to go every which way, right up against the wall on the outside, right up against the yellow line on the inside. These guys will search for every last bit of real estate on this track, and then some, to make some gains here this afternoon. And with that being said, we can now bring you the starting lineup for today's 80 laps of action, and it is Joshua Michaels on pole position for the first time this season. He's got Jeffrey Finguy alongside him. Bit of a quiet start to the year for the 92, looking to see if today will change all that for the former series champion. Henry Thomas, looking to break a very long winless drought going back 6 years, will line up in third position. Lane Sanders starts fourth ahead of Ben McDonald, who's had a pretty slow start to the year himself. Hopefully we'll be able to change that in the number 12 coming from the 5th position. But we've got some other names to keep our eye on as well. James Ellison put that 3 car really high up the grid in 7th. Cale Tescar Jr. won at Rockingham. He starts 10th. And Cody Goforth just outside the top 10 and 11th. Brian Grigsby in 13th. Last week's winner, Ryan Griffin at Las Vegas. He starts 16th. There's just so many stories to keep our eye on. There's 42 stories, all of whom hope to end in victory lane by the end of this thing.
Indeed, we're going to have to keep our eye on all those names for sure, but definitely those guys, count out the guys at the back of the pack too, who haven't had ideal starts to the season. They've just been getting the short end of the stick these first 3 rounds. So definitely for round 4, keep on some guys in the back of the field to maybe make a charge and turn their seasons around. But obviously the 3 winners that we've had, McMillan, Tescar, and Griffin, they'll definitely want to go get a second one.
Absolutely, and one last story to keep our eye on, Logan Williams. He starts 15th today. He's had 2 DNFs in the first 3 races. He's buried in the point standings. We really hope he can turn his season around here at Atlanta, a place where he's had success in the past. But with that being said, we've got 42 drivers that are all looking to get to victory lane at the end of 80 laps this afternoon. We are ready to bring you that action now. It's the 1UP Superstar Series from Atlanta Motor Speedway, and the green flag set to get this great race underway in just a short while. Stay tuned for that. This ought to be a good one. Get ready for something big here at Atlanta. It is Michaels and Finguy on row 1, leading us to the restart zone. The green flag is out, and we are racing at Atlanta. Michaels gets a good launch off the line. I'm curious to see who's going to be the first one to make it 3 wide going into turn 1. There's a lot of takers. McMillan tries to make it a move to the inside already, and Michaels leads the charge off turn 2, and it's Vargas that takes the first initiative. He's going to duck underneath James Ellison to try and get past that 3. Wicked opening lap so far, as we've got 3 wide back there for about 4th place.
And now these cars are really getting up to speed, and you can hear these fans cheer with excitement as they go by. Michaels is going to lead lap 1, but Ben McDonald, the shootout winner on the Daytona Beach course, here he comes to the inside. He's got the 87 of Lane Sanders tucked up behind him. Henry Thomas up there in the 4th spot on the outside. And I see the Daytona 500 winner, Jake McMillan. He's also looking to make some noise. Then there's Vargas, as you mentioned, behind him. Behind that 42, I see Devon Fair up here in the top 10 behind Finguy. And basically from everyone else, it's just a feeding frenzy.
Yeah, I think they're getting stacked up behind that 3 car, James Ellison, who had a bit of a rough start on the opening lap, but a few cars have already made their way past. Lane Sanders fighting his way to the inside, 3 wide for the lead off of turn 2 on just the 3rd lap of the race. This is what these people at Atlanta came here to see, as Lane Sanders trying to get underneath Joshua Michaels through 3 and 4. He's going to make the move stick, and this is something we've already had a lot more of today than we had last time out at Las Vegas, and we've had our first lead change of the day for good measure. Sanders to the point on lap number 4.
Excellent drive by that 87 Pepsi ride. As we're taking a look at that speed shot right there of all the cars going by, you got Brian Grigsby. He's been able to emerge up here in the top 10. You also see Cody Goforth, Cameron Brennan, Cale Teskar Jr. That Grigsby was also able to pass. Goforth stuck in the middle 3 wide. And you got Teskar along with Brennan sandwiching that 64 car right there. You also got Mashburn up there, but still 3 wide. McMillan looking to make a charge, but Sanders trying to keep them all behind him.
And McMillan has his teammate back there to help him, Devon Fair, in the 21. But going back to what we were saying about the guys just inside the top 10, we've got Cameron Brennan fighting up there, and he has had a rough start to the season. Other than an 11th place finish at Daytona, he's had not much to write home about. He's going to really shine when we get to the road course section of the season in the middle part towards the summer. But for now, he's just going to do the best he can, and so far, that's a spot in the top 15 as McDonald dives down the inside for the lead on Sanders.
You see McDonald trying to do his best to hang tough on the inside with Vargas pushing him. But you see that outside momentum. Joshua Michaels giving a whale of a push to that 87, being able to push him past out front. And now we're seeing more 2x2 action here in the top 10. Vargas maybe put 3 wide here. Looks like Jake McMillan's going to try and do that. Even below the apron is that 42 car. Definitely putting his car in many unknown areas, but Jake McMillan, kudos to him for trying new lines and trying to make it work, but that's him in the 42 car up and around the 7th spot.
And meanwhile, Cameron Brennan's going to try the exact same thing in 3 and 4. As look at Myles Mashburn taking him up 3 wide on the top. In the 72, he's making big moves towards the top 10. He's going to pass 3 cars in the space of 1 lap, move the 72 from 11th all the way up to 8th spot.
And another lead change. Michaels has now gotten around Lane Sanders. There he goes ahead of that 87, and he's able to actually get a 2-car length gap over Sanders. There's Vargas in the 54 Revolution car. Down 3 wide, you got Jeffrey Finguy trying to follow him through. But these guys, the top 8 and the 9, they briefly broke away from this pack, but now it looks like the rest of the pack is able to hang with them a little bit. Cameron Brennan trying to do his best. And in the 10th spot, trying to hang with Jeffrey Finguy in 9th is, man, you just can't get tired of seeing all this at the front of the field. Lots of action.
Now, it will start to spread out later in the run once the tires start to age and once these guys are trying to search for some grip. It will start to spread out eventually, but let's just enjoy this moment while it's here. 2-3 wide racing action all over this racetrack as Mashburn tucks in right behind Devon Fair, trying to make something happen of it in the outside line. He's being pushed by Cameron Brennan, but now we've got another lead change at the front. This time it's the 54 of Christian Vargas, 2-time champion of the series, and he takes the lead now for the first time today.
And you know Vargas, he's always looking to be a threat every week, but here comes that 87 of Sanders with some momentum. As Vargas definitely a one for a success story here in the 1-Up Superstar Series. But now I'm interested to see what 3rd place Joshua Michaels will do as he looks on that battle between the 54 and 87. He actually checked up a little bit, and that's going to draw a whole lot more people closer. Taking a look at the helicopter shot of Jeffrey Finguy, we got Keon Daly. First time we mentioned him this afternoon. He's also making a charge following the 92 on the inside.
Yeah, and Keon Daly is joining his 2 teammates, McMillan and Fair, up in the top 10. First time we've had all 3 JHM Racing Hondas up in the top 10 this season. Good to see out of the Keon Daly machine, who had a good day at Las Vegas, but other than that has had a rough start of things. He's currently 29th in the points. When you compare that to his teammates running 3rd and 4th, Daly's got a lot of work to do to catch back up. But runs like this will definitely help him with that, as Sanders once again takes a look on Vargas for the race lead.
Man, such fast racing we're seeing on lap 12 and 13. You think these guys would be racing like it's lap 79, 80, but again, like you mentioned, how Atlanta, this place provides, a great product here for these fans that show up here season after season. But now Vargas is going to get just a slight advantage over that 87. Michael still remains in third. And the 16 of Henry Thomas, I see, like, he's been stuck around fourth place most of the early laps here. Like, I could tell he wants to get down to the inside and maybe make a move for it, but he's just trapped on the outside. He doesn't really have anywhere to go, as now Myles Mashburn has him in his clutches.
And going back to the Henry Thomas conversation a little bit, it has been since Pikes Peak, all the way back in race number 5 of this series, that Henry Thomas last went to victory lane. It has been a long winless drought for the 16. I know we won one of the duels at Daytona this season, but in a points race, where it really matters, it has been an eternity for Henry Thomas. He would love to get back to victory lane as soon as possible, but you're right, he's going to need some help if he's going to do it today. Mired on that outside line and drifting a ways back now.
Now we got Myles Mashburn, who started right outside the top 10 in the 12th position, looking to get up to where his teammate Joshua Michaels is, but Jake McMillan, who was side-by-side in a photo finish for the win in the Daytona 500, that 42 is going to deny the 72 that chance. Right now the 6 trying to help the 54 of Vargas. Lane Sanders trying to ride solo on the bottom line of the track. But that 87, he's able to maintain the grip down on the inside, and so far he's able to hang even with Vargas. Now we'll see what Mashburn does as he now goes to the inside of Michaels.
I was just about to say the two Robbers Racing teammates have found each other at the front of the field. The 6 who started on pole and the 72 who started down in 12th place. They've managed to meet in the middle in the battle for 3rd and 4th. But up at the front, Vargas continues to hold on. This has been a good track for Vargas in the past. We'll see if he can get this win, which would be the 17th of his career, just too short of the all-time record set by Jeffrey Finguy with 19.
Yeah, with so many races left to be run this season, and with how well prepared that 54 team is, like Vargas, I'm sure will make that happen Sunday. But now Joshua Michaels on the outside just couldn't lead that lap. He was 0.04 of a second short of doing so. But now the 6 and the 72, they linked up together up on the outside. I mean, Mashburn just has to do his job and get past Lane Sanders, and maybe he can lend his teammate more assistance. But Vargas isn't giving up down on the bottom. He still wants to keep P1.
Yeah, but Lane Sanders, I don't think, is going to let that happen easily. He wants to hold on to a podium position, if not go for the win himself. He's had a fairly innocuous start to the season as well. A DNF at Daytona, a couple of decent days at Rockingham and Las Vegas, but he hasn't gotten to victory lane yet, and he's looking forward to the day when he can do so. He's just hoping he can do so with one or both of his teammates up there. But Cameron Brennan right now is down in 12th position. Julio Cesar a few spots behind the 90.
I also see a couple of new players just behind this little pack that we got showing on right here. Zachary DeLello in the 08, I see, show his face right here, as well as the 62 of Jensen Nominen. And also the 22 of Patrick Smith. Like, so those 3 drivers, they're also making their first presences here, fighting for a top 10 spot. As we're taking a look at Henry Thomas, trying to push the 42 on by. They're 3 wide for second, and Christian Vargas is just going to say thank you very much, and you guys, continue to battle it out.
Yeah, the battling has been incredible so far in this race between pretty much everybody in this top 10 and beyond. You've got battles all over this racetrack, and you can run anywhere on this racetrack. Case in point, Lane Sanders goes way up high to try and get some momentum off the top of the track. Jake McMillan's hanging right on the yellow line on the inside. But it just goes to show you can run anywhere here and do it well. And
now we're a quarter of the way through this race. We'll wonder about the tire fall-off here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, because this is a rather older surface that these drivers are racing on. We'll have to check and see how much of a factor that will be for these guys handling. Now as we take a look at the 72, passes his way by his teammate Joshua Michaels up to second. He might even do a crossover move on Vargas for the race lead. And man, look at that 72 car. He's got plenty of grip on the inside as they come nearly side by side to the line.
Yeah, and you mentioned the fall off here. We're already seeing lap times about 8 to 9 tenths of a second slower than they were at the start of this race. They started this race in the the high 28s, low 29s, and we're already into the low 30s here. But it's okay. We're still putting on some fantastic racing, even with slightly worn tires. And Myles Mashburn's going to send it down the inside. He's going to hope for a little help from his teammate Michaels, but the 6 just cannot get to the 72's bumper, and that's going to allow Vargas to use the momentum off the top side to lead another lap.
Right now, Vargas trusting the momentum that he's getting on the outside line to let him not necessarily keep the lead, but at least make it difficult for Mashburn to challenge him for that spot. And again, just good side-by-side racing that we are seeing, quarter way through this race now. But definitely don't count out the guys back here behind them who are saving their stuff, perhaps to maybe mount a challenge for P1. But you got guys like Devon Fair, Henry Thomas, Zachary DeLello, Jake McMillan, Cameron Brennan, as they're all 3 wide.
Yeah, and keep in mind as well, we do have a pit stop to make sometime around halfway in this race. So between lap 40 and 50 is the estimated pit window. I'm curious to see if there's someone back, like around, say, a Cameron Brennan, a Patrick Smith, someone back there, or even Ben McDonald or Brian Grigsby, who rolls the dice and comes to pit road early and gets that track position that's going to be oh so important today. And conversely, who's going to try the opposite? Hang it out as long as you can on this set of tires so that you can have the absolute freshest by the end of the race.
That'll definitely be a toss-up for strategies, which makes me glad I'm not a crew chief down there on pit road today. So they're going to have a ton of work to do trying to figure out the best strategy for their car. But now it is a clear pass for the lead. Myles Mashburn goes ahead of Christian Vargas in the 72. Will claim the lead once right here. Now Lane Sanders in third, trying to overtake the 54, as Vargas just could not hang on to that lead any longer, as that 72 is looking to be real strong as he's trying to go for his first win of this season.
Yeah, and he's looking for his first oval track win in a couple of years. Remember, his 2 wins last season both came on road courses. So Mashburn looking to return to a sort of normalcy for him. He says he's not good at the road courses. He's got 2 wins there. But regardless, this is a great run for the 72 at Atlanta, a place he knows pretty well. And he's got to be looking in his mirrors because he knows that the 54 is still going to mount a challenge as he goes side by side with Lane Sanders momentarily in a battle for the second spot, as Michaels just reasserts himself, trying to get by the 87 himself and make it a Robbers Racing double podium at the moment.
Now Vargas with a comeback of his own, but he wasn't able to stick with the 72 in previous laps of him being on the outside. But now look at that. Oh, everybody's drifting up top. That 72 is the only car down on the bottom. And Sanders looks like he will give Vargas the aerodynamic push necessary to get ahead of Mashburn. And then, like I mentioned before, Devon Fair also waiting in the wings. Henry Thomas, Zachary DeLello, Jeffrey Finguy, the outside pole sitter. But you got the main pole sitter of Michaels trying to push that 72. And, just weird alliances up here in the top 5. I mean, because the 54 and the 87 are different manufacturers, but even at a track like this, your friends are where you find them. You got to go forward any way you can.
And it's a good thing Myles Mashburn does have a friend behind him and his teammate Joshua Michaels to help him make some gains. And how about Zachary DeLello? We haven't talked about this 08 car a whole ton today, but he's forced his way through the field, and he's now running in the 6th position. He's just past Henry Thomas for that. So DeLello seems to have a pretty quick car. He started this race down in 22nd, so he's already gained about 18 spots in this race, or 16 spots in this race, I should say. But regardless, a strong run from the 08 early. We'll see what he can do in the second half of this race, which we're quickly coming up on halfway, only about 10 laps from that.
And I also noticed just outside the top 10, I got to give the biggest mover award to Patrick Smith, because he started all the way down in 22nd, and he's hanging right outside the top 10, Patrick Smith started 26th, and he's already up to 11th, so he's gained about 15 positions from the time that he started, so that 22 car is also showing some strength, just like his teammate in the 92 of Jeffrey Finguy. Unfortunately, it looks like Ryan Griffin, last week's winner, he's not faring so good. He's fallen back a little bit into the pack. But so far, 2 of the Fingai Saitomi cars running real good.
And it's not like Ryan Griffin's doing a terrible job. He's running just inside or right around 15th place, which is a pretty solid day in the office if your worst car is running in 15th. So solid stuff from Fingai Saitomi today, as is for the Spa team. Cameron Brennan having his best intermediate run in the Superstar Series that we've seen so far. He had a bit of a rough time at Las Vegas, but he's doing a really solid job today, running just inside or just outside the top 10 pretty much all race long for the rookie, who we expect, of course, to really shine once we get into the summer months when we go on our international tour on the road courses. But for now, he's doing the best he can, and that right now, that's 9th place.
Good to see out of Brennan right there, as he's got his teammate Lane Sanders to look forward to. Now we're going to faces outside the top 10. Jensen Nomina, Keon Daly, Ben McDonald, who was up in the top 5 a little bit ago, but he's drifted back a little bit. Here's Ryan Caggiano.
Yeah, you
There's the Ryan.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. You were talking about big movers of the race. I'm giving mine to Ryan Caggiano. He's running in about 16th position right now, and he started all the way down in 38th. So that's an incredible charge through the field from Ryan Caggiano up through this field. Meanwhile, just outside the top 20 is a little bit of a surprise to see the likes of Teskar and Davidson back there. And then meanwhile, you've got this group back here that's got to be hoping for a caution flag to come out to get them back into this race. They're over 7 seconds off the lead, all the way back to 42nd place Sam Donato riding the tailcoats of this train. But up at the front of the field, we gave you a quick rundown, see where your favorite driver is running after 35 laps have been completed. Mashburn's once again going on the attack, this time after Christian Vargas for the race lead.
Definitely good observance on the 5 of Caggiano, as he did restart way deep in the 30s in 38th place and already charging up really nicely into the top 20. And now we got guys right here. The 92 and the 16 nearly got together off of turn 4. You can just tell these guys are just hanging on for dear life with these tires. And that pit stop, should we get to halfway with no caution, should be looming pretty shortly for these guys. And that's something that they're desperately wanting to get soon. And once they get those new tires, the lap times are going to start to be faster and faster, and these guys will be a lot more confident behind the wheel.
And remember, green flag pit stops can often lead to a yellow flag just because the blending in and out of the pit lane. We've seen that earlier this season at Las Vegas in the Turbo Truck Series race. I believe it was AF Walsh in the 02 truck for Fingai Saitomi. He collided with Wyatt Wilkinson at Las Vegas, sent the 85 up and into the wall. That cost the 85 a good day in that race. So we got to be careful seeing if we see something like that happen here, because at the speeds these guys are going here at Atlanta, even on tires that are 38 laps old, that could still touch off a big wreck with how close these guys are to each other.
And you actually mentioned that. I do recall round 2 at Rockingham when that driver right there, Jeffrey Fingai, also was the victim of a little miscommunication when green flag pit stops were happening. He got spun into the wall in turns 3 and 4. Thankfully, he was able to recover to have a decent day. But that incident I do recall in my mind when you bring up that point. But as we're coming up to almost halfway, at the end of lap 40, we'll be halfway through. But Vargas still shows the way, and this is definitely where the cream is rising to the top amongst this top 10.
Because you look at let's look at these front runners, and you see all the degree of successes they've had. Christian Vargas, 16 wins. Myles Mashburn, 5 wins. Lane Sanders, 7. Devon Fair, 13. Michaels only has the 1. DeLello has 1. Jeffrey Fingai, of course, 19 wins under his belt. So you're right. The cream absolutely rising to the top, and a lot of these guys also made the championship chase last year. I believe the first driver in this running order that didn't make the playoffs chase last season was Cameron Brennan, and that's because he wasn't even running in the series full time. So you definitely have the best of the best running up at the front here, as we see Caggiano, our biggest mover of the day so far, making a move on Ryan Griffin. That is for 16th.
And there's that 0-2 of Ryan Griffin and that Ally machine, coming into this race feeling the proudest out of anybody, finally getting that first career win. Definitely a proud moment for the Michigan native in that Fingai Saitomi ride, still running pretty decently. He's got his other 2 teammates running around here in 7th and 9th place, Fingai and Smith. And now Mashburn's been able to retake the lead from Christian Vargas. Sanders has been able to hold strong in third place as we get a look at the good section of the rear of these cars. Cameron Brennan and Patrick Smith also engaging battle for ninth.
Yeah, but for now, Myles Mashburn has cleared the likes of Vargas and Sanders. Actually, I think Sanders also got around Vargas at the line there to take second spot away. So maybe the 54 not as good on the long run on worn-out tires. As it looks as though the back end of the field's about half a lap behind the leaders, so we're not really going to worry about lap traffic too much quite yet. But it may be a factor later, especially after this round of pit stops, if we have that point in the race come fairly quickly. But Mashburn currently leads the race off of 4, and we've got a change, I believe, that is for 7th place with Thomas and DeLello.
Nice to see right there. We're already on lap 44, so these guys are able to make it this far on fuel. So, yeah, only one pit stop is needed as far as fuel is concerned. But, again, with this being an older track surface, it's got a lot more tire wear, so we'll have to wonder how much longer these guys can go on these tires. That's obviously a very important thing to keep in mind. And now here's Vargas, just trying to hang with the 72 and make sure he's still a part of this conversation. Like you said, lap traffic may not be that much of a issue today compared to a short track like Rockingham Speedway where they approach several lap cars in the way. Lap 45, the time is ticking down on these pit stops. We'll just have to wonder who's going to blank first and make the first move.
And you're going to see a lot of lap traffic, especially at places like Hillside and Bristol, our next two races, as we got our first taker from the top 10 on pit road, and it is Zachary DeLello from 8th place. He's the first one to come down pit road, so he's going to take advantage of these fresh tires early, as is Julio Caesar, Cale Tescar Jr., Cody Goforth, and a host of cars at the back of the field, all coming down to try and get a jump start on green flag pit stops. I'm curious to see if the likes of Mashburn, Sanders, a few others are going to come in this time. They really need to follow suit because they're going to lose heaps of time if they don't. Here they come now.
Yep, Mashburn, Sanders, Michaels, Fair, Finn Guy, Henry Thomas. Oh, a little bit of contact I saw back there. I believe Patrick Smith was one of those cars, but we got the 54 of Vargas and the 42 of McMillan trying to go for the overcut plan. As you see, pit road is absolutely busy.
Ooh, more contact with Patrick Smith.
Oh, no.
That was with Roberto Crown Jr. on the 26 exiting pit road. I don't think it's going to hurt the 22 that much this time around compared to Rockingham. But you're right. It's a hornet's nest on pit road as Vargas and McMillan come down pit road. Aaron Hall in the 19 was the other driver to stay out an extra lap. But I would expect him, too, to come down pit road this time by. And it looks as though, yes, he will. So that should complete the green flag pit cycle. And it's only taken about a couple of laps to cycle your way through it. But I'm curious to see where Zachary DeLello cycles out because he got the fresh tires early. Let's see where he blends in.
Also, good to see we didn't have any apparent incidents, on the track. I mean, we did have the 22 of Patrick Smith colliding with Roberto Crown Jr., but otherwise we've stayed pretty clean. There goes the 08 past the 72 of Michaels. DeLello feeling the freshness of those tires, helping that 08 car come to life. He's going to rapidly approach the 43 of Nicky Martinez. Looks like that 43 car didn't have as hot of a pit stop, and now DeLello is rolling around this racetrack on the fresh tires as he's going to go by the 54 Vargas, and Zachary DeLello may be the biggest beneficiary out of this green flag pit stop cycle, it seems.
And some other beneficiaries, Cody Goforth, Julio Caesar, Cale Tescar Jr., they all pitted early, and they're reaping the benefits of it by running in the top 10 when they otherwise wouldn't have been. So now it's Zachary DeLello with the lead of this race over Myles Mashburn in the 72. We'll see what the gap is. It's only 0.8 of a second, so not as big perhaps as DeLello would have hoped for, especially as he's lapping the 43 of Martinez. But we'll see, because Mashburn does have a lap fresher tires than DeLello. We'll see if that helps the 72 reel in the 08 at a later point in this race. And of course, Vargas has the freshest tires of the bunch. He pitted last, and he's only 3.5 seconds off the lead.
Other drivers that we haven't gotten to mention yet today, who are now in the top 10 thanks to this, Julio Caesar, right now in 6th place in the 00. There's also Cale Tescar Jr., the Rockingham winner. And there's we're just going through all these cars that have made their pit stops now. Aaron Hall, Ryan Reed, Bobo Jones.
Ben McDonald had a really slow stop. He's now in 33rd position in that 12 car after starting in the top 10, so something big must have happened to him. And same case for James Ellison and Keon Daly. They were all running fairly solidly in this race, but they all seem to have had rough pit stops, and they're all now down in the 30s, which definitely not what any of these teams were hoping for this early in the season, as Mashburn reeling in the 08 at a rapid rate.
Yeah, Mashburn, that difference of pinning just a lap later than the 08 did, looking to prove dividends. DeLello was feeling the rhythm, feeling the rhyme, but look out, it's Myles Mashburn time, trying to make the pass. It looks like he will successfully do that. He breezes on by DeLello, and at least as far as there goes, DeLello had a chance to shine up in the lead, but now Mashburn and that Zaxby's side proving that the strength of pinning a lap later is helping him out even more.
And the thing about it is, DeLello was running in 8th spot when he pitted. If he can finish this race anywhere above that, he'll consider that a success based on his strategy. As long as he can finish ahead of 8th place, that'll be a job well done for that 08 team. But you got to look back. Christian Vargas has now caught Lane Sanders and passed Lane Sanders for the 3rd position. And he's only about 3 seconds off this lead with just under 30 laps to go. If Vargas can close in on these two and make it a battle for the win, I think Vargas is going to have a good advantage because he's got those tires on his car that are a few laps fresher than even Mashburn's.
Yeah, 3 seconds back. We'll have to see what margin he has this time. Yeah, he did cut a couple tenths down. So if he's able to do that lap after lap, maybe the 54 Vargas may have something for DeLello and Mashburn. As we were taking a look at a battle between Devon Fair and Cale Teskar Jr. and them. Here's Cody Goforth, who also benefited really good from those pit stops, hanging on to a top 15 position. But I also see the 92 of Finguy definitely didn't do so hot.
3 wide, here we go. We've got a 3 wide situation on our hands. That, at least we briefly did. That is the fight for 5th through 8th. Michaels, Smith, Teskar, and Caesar. Devon Fair quickly approaching the battle as well. Jake McMillan hanging on to the final spot in the top 10. Of course, Devon Fair, the only driver to have top 10s in every race this season. I think he's going to try and extend that streak if he can here today.
Yeah, he sure has a good chance of doing that. Jake McMillan, Devon Fair, they're also hanging right around in the top 10, but now DeLello is behind Mashburn by a couple tenths now, and Vargas didn't really gain any time in 3rd from what I noticed. So, I mean, there will be a point where these tires will start to equalize, and pretty soon the drivers who did have the freshest advantage of those tires will no longer have it. So Vargas definitely has a lot of work to do to make sure those tires will carry him forward.
Yeah, we were talking about Christian Vargas trying to cut into that gap. Devon Fair trying to close in on the gap for this battle of cars between 5th and 8th, and he's bringing his teammate McMillan with him. So this is now a 6-car battle for 5th place on the racetrack. Mashburn's got that gap even bigger over Zachary DeLello. Vargas actually took 1.5 tenths out of the gap on the previous lap. We'll see what it is this time. Wow, 0.4 of a second on that lap. So Vargas is closing, at least on the 08. We'll see if he can get past DeLello, maybe even make the move on Mashburn for this race win.
Yeah, I may have spoken too soon. Perhaps Vargas definitely has some time to work with. I mean, we still have just over 20 laps to go. We have 22 to go this time by. But that 54, I mean, he's been a strong force to be reckoned with all afternoon.
Another 0.4 out of the lead there.
Yeah, 2 seconds. Even that 54 car is really moving. Looks like he may run down DeLello and Mashburn soon enough. But you also got Lane Sanders. He's also trying to cut down the deficit in 4th place. So perhaps if Vargas catches the top 2 when they all get racing, there could still be a possibility Lane Sanders may also join them, and it'll be a 4-horse race.
And looking further back in the top 10, Jake McMillan leapfrogged 3 cars in the space of a couple of laps, and there he just got 2 more. In the space of 2 laps, he's jumped from leapfrog from 10th on the road up all the way to 5th, and I don't think he's done yet. This 42 was another car that waited till the very end of the cycle to pit for tires. He's on the same level of tires as Vargas is, and I would expect that 42 to charge his way up towards Lane Sanders at least to try and get further up the order and a few more points in his pocket.
Now we're taking a look at a battle between Goforth, Nomina, and Cameron Brennan for a spot inside the top 15. They're on their own little island in this battle. But Brennan and Jensen Nomina, fellow rookies right there, as you got the rookie stripes on the back end of both the 90 and the 62. Little friendly rookie competition. And behind them, I do see the 92 of Jeffrey Finguy, whose stop didn't fare as well as he wanted to. He's just in damage control mode pretty much from now on, and he's going to try and run these 3 cars down.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it's too friendly of a rivalry between Brennan and Nomina. Those two were teammates last year in the Nitro National Series, and things took a turn at Vermont last year when the two collided under a yellow flag period. So those two might still be harboring ill feelings about that, but they're driving for different teams now in the top division. We'll see if they can hang on for the rest of this race as Vargas closes in like a rocket ship towards the back of Zachary DeLillo. This is going to be an easy pass for second when he gets there.
It appears so. These guys are only just over 1 second behind that 72. And Mashburn is also slowly running down on the lap car, or soon-to-be lap car of Zachary Fitzwater. But now here comes the 54 by the 08, and it was this lap that Vargas was able to get him by. And the margin this time at the line, a second even, just over a second, 1.057 seconds. So yeah, with now a set 16 laps to go, Vargas definitely has enough time. As you see the 59 car of Fitzwater laying just ahead. What will they do when these guys get the Fitzwater?
Well, the good news for Mashburn is Fitzwater is just one lap car by himself. It's not a whole group of lap cars racing each other. And I would expect Fitzwater to be courteous and let these guys race for the win. He's not really racing them for really anything, because although I would expect him to try and fight hard to stay on the lead lap, in the event that we get a caution in the next 5 laps or so, he would either stay on the lead lap ahead of the leader, or if they get past him, he'd get the free pass. Because remember, we stopped giving those out with 10 laps to go. It's just a matter of time, though, before these guys reel him in.
And speaking of reeling in, here comes Jake McMillan. He's more than just going to reel in Lane Sanders. He's going to take him up and put him in the box for later. And now McMillan up to 4th place, even though he might have just missed that on at the line. He's definitely got 4th place now. DeLello's fading a little bit. Here's more lap traffic, which I don't believe Mashburn will catch up to. They're definitely going to catch up to this 59 as Vargas is also reeling it in. This is shaping up to be a good one.
We might not even need Fitzwater to influence this battle for the lead. It could be over by the time they get to him. Vargas only a quarter of a second behind the 72. Myles Mashburn has held on as long as he could, but I don't think it may be enough, because Vargas, look at him, down the backstretch he goes, pulling up alongside, and I expect the move to be done by the time they get to the start-finish line.
We'll see how good that inside line is with that 54 of Vargas. Dead even, side by side. Fitzwater is going to be ahead of these guys right here. It'll be determined on which line is the best one. Can they go 3 wide on it, perhaps? Yes, they will.
They're going to try and split the 59. Mashburn up high. Vargas down low. Fitzwater in the middle. They're going to clear Fitzwater down the middle, and that is going to be that's a move of the year candidate right there, I'd say. But Christian Vargas still with the tire advantage. Mashburn doing his best to hang on that outside where we've seen a lot of great runs happen. He will lead at the line, and these two ran nearly identical lap times. They were only 1,000th apart on the timing charts.
Oh, but now you see the 72. He's not able to hang as well on the outside that time. And there's the 25 for Francois Chastain. They may catch him as well. Now Christian Vargas, the guy who waited the absolute longest to make a pit stop. He is now got full possession of the lead right now over Mashburn. And Mashburn, I'm sure he's probably just dejected that he wasn't able to, hold on to the lead, for more time. But now it's all Christian Vargas from here on. And even though that he may run up on a couple lap cars, it's going to take a lot of work for Mashburn to catch that 54 again.
And McMillan and Sanders back there, they're still fighting over fourth place, and that's not really helping the 42's efforts to get up to the front. But I do want to give a call quickly before this race ends. That car right up there, that's the second Zaxby's car in this race. Angel Gutierrez making his second consecutive start in the series, his second overall. He had a solid top 20 day at Las Vegas, and he's going to try and do one better here at Atlanta. He's currently in 11th, and he's reeling in Julio Cesar pretty quickly for 10th.
Cool opportunity for Gutierrez, hailing from Mexico and getting this chance to compete part-time in the Superstar Series this season. And even all the rookies who have gotten to be behind the wheel of this 66 machine, they've definitely had great fortune while proving their worth. So Angel Gutierrez just doing the same. And yeah, looking forward to staying ahead of Jeffrey Finguy as well. That'd be a good name to hold off if Gutierrez is able to do so. But he's got the 00 Julio Cesar right there in 10th place. So a top 10 is definitely in the works.
And keep in mind as well, Gutierrez is the highest running rookie of this race, period. He's ahead of all the full-time rookies. He's doing so well out in front of this field. But this race is far from over. I just wanted to give a big call to this 66. All these rookies have put this car in the top 10 in owners' points, and Gutierrez, I would expect, would do a really big service to the Robbers Racing to help put this car up there, and he may even be a candidate to drive this car full-time next year if he has good results down in the Nitro National Series as well as here. But we have 7 laps to go in this race, and it's Christian Vargas who now has a full seconds lead over Myles Mashburn. But although Vargas is quickly approaching about 5 lap cars that are going to be in his way.
We'll need to see how, much they will slow him down or how easy that 54 car will get around them. Again, Francois Chastain will be the first one that he'll approach. You also got Jeff Bolton in that 38. He's also laying up ahead right there. There's the 08, the 42, and the 87 there. The 42 and the 87 have rolled up to the 08 machine, so that's their own little battle for third place. And now that 66 and the 92, Finguy trying to get P11 from Gutierrez. They're both trying to chase that 00 of Cesar for a top 10 position. Henry Thomas also behind this battle. And looks like there's Ryan Griffin. So you got another Finguy Saitomi car having another great day to try and get up to the 92. But Gutierrez having a strong run to the inside of Julio Cesar as we now have 5 laps to go here on the ticker.
Trying for his first career top 10 and just his second career start, Angel Gutierrez on a flyer. He's using Nicky Martinez here as a pick to put some distance between himself and the chasing cars of Cesar and Finguy. Excellent driving from the 66, able to use this 43 as a buffer of sorts to get him ahead of at least Cesar and hopefully ahead of Finguy as well. We've got 4 laps to go. Gutierrez 10 seconds off the lead, but still hanging on to a top 10, which would be an incredible result for him, as McMillan has now cleared DeLello to move up to 3rd spot, and Sanders isn't that far behind either.
Yeah, like you were talking about, DeLello taking the initial the initial lead after that green flag pit stop cycle. If he were to come out of this race with a top 10, that would be successful, but it looks like he may get away with at least a 5th place finish, as now the leader is in the thick of lap traffic. He's about to approach it. Yes, he is. He's going by all these guys. He's gotten by every single one of them. He's gotten by Ellison,
Duke Ansak's there, Jeff Bolton, Francois Chastain. He's passed them all. Next up the road is Bobo Jones, but I don't think he's going to get to the 1 car by the end of this race. 2 laps of racing to go, and the gap is now 2 seconds between Vargas and Mashburn out front.
And Vargas' spotter in that Revolution Racing team, he's saying just the gap is 2 seconds. You can back off if you want to. Mashburn isn't really posing a threat anymore as he's coming through 3 and 4 to take the white flag. Now Vargas, he's pretty much on cruise control, and he looks like may cruise to this victory in 1.5 more miles.
I saw a car on pit road right at the end of this race, and it's Cameron Brennan, car number 90. He was having such an incredible day today, and he is going to fall well off the pace as a result of this pit stop. Heartbreak for Sanders Performance Autosport and Cameron Brennan. But down the backstretch for the final time, Christian Vargas will have led over half this race by the time he gets to the line this time. And coming through 3 and 4 for the final time, this is all Christian Vargas for the 17th time in his One-Up Superstar Series career. It is car 54 getting the job done at Atlanta.
A whale of a run by Christian Vargas, and it was all about pit strategy. The later pit strategy, the overcut plan, it proved to be king here this afternoon for Christian Vargas and Revolution Racing. But, I mean, still a good job, though, by Mashburn, McMillan, Sanders, and DeLello coming out of this one clean as well. Up here in the top 5 after green flag pit stops, but that 54 car just utilized the best they can, and just, wow, what a way for them to do it, and for Vargas to return to victory lane once again.
And for Mashburn, this is his 3rd runner-up finish in 4 races. That's got a sting for the 72 car, and especially in a double whammy for Robbers Racing, as Jeffrey Finguy had to spoil Angel Gutierrez's day by taking the final spot in the top 10 away from him on the final lap of the race. Still a strong run from Gutierrez in 11th. But that's just how it goes sometimes in superstar competition, especially when you've got a former champion to deal with. But Christian Vargas, what a job he did. Of these 80 laps, he led exactly half of them. And this is going to be a big win for Christian Vargas because it now moves him into the top 5 in points as well.
Yeah, it's always good to get to victory lane, but yeah, the points jump that you get from getting in victory lane, it obviously always helps you. And even though the 72 and Mashburn, 3 times he's finished second this season, I mean, for the points chase, that's going to put him in a very good position to, keep on adding that gap that he has over the competition. But as far as this race goes, I mean, it was still an entertaining one, even though we didn't have any real yellow flags. Thankfully, everyone who started at the green flag was able to finish at the checkers, and everyone can load their cars up into the trailer happy and move on to round 5.
Yeah, it's a difficult pill to swallow, though, for Cameron Brennan. He finishes 42nd after such a strong day today. We hear it was a mechanical failure in the final few laps that did him in. I'm sure Spa will diagnose that and get them ready for Hillside next time out. But with that being said, from Jesse Turner and from myself as well, thanks for joining us for an epic day of racing here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll see you again in a couple weeks' time at Hillside Speedway, the 36 degrees banked corner, mile oval out in Massachusetts. That is always a tire killer out there. I'm curious to see how that one fares over 100 laps out in that place. But until we see you at Hillside, so long from Atlanta, and congratulations to Christian Vargas, gets his first win of the season and keeps his record of winning a race in every season he's competed alive and well in 2026.